So we have something called, it's a product named Miss Kit, or it's like a rubber latex. And who doesn't have any of this? You're not going to need much. You can borrow mine if you don't have any. It's rubber. And if you're going to use a little paintbrush, which I don't advise you to do, which is what I used to do back in the day, but it'll wreck your brushes. Because once that stuff goes into your brushes, you can't get it out. Thinner than you can get with a zero brush. And the other thing, if you want to thicken it up a little bit, I use this guy. I dip that in, and the Miss Kit goes on the inside there like that, and you can draw with it and clean it constantly because it'll dry out right on the tip and create some aggravation for you. So I want you to try using it to see what it gives you, but don't overdo it. You get carried away, and next thing you know, when your painting dries and you peel it off, you've got a nightmare. It's like, you know, I get mad at myself all the time because I kind of like doing it when I'm doing it, but then I get too, like, you don't have to do the moon. Actually, you should. Because I painted that. No, I'm sorry. You have to do the moon with the Miss Kit, so you do have to draw it out with the template. Okay? And back in here, there's a little stick here that comes up. There's a little bit of snow that sits on the top, so you want to do that. You want to do some of these bits where the snow is going to go against a lighter or a darker area, like up in here. You may want to put some up in there. Some of these little bits here where you want to maintain some whites. If you don't put it in there, you'll have to scratch it out with a blade, which is okay. Not the end of the world. Back in here, I used it. I even use it in oil paint. So again, whatever you do in watercolor, you can do in oil. I just try to highlight some of the little branches, and then I can paint right over them. When that stuff dries, I paint right over them, and you can do it maybe 2 or 3 times, and then you pull the Miss Kit off, and you got white. Give them a feast of the principles and elements of design where they'll go, wow, I like that. Okay, so there are tricks to get you there, and that's all I'm teaching is what the brain likes to see. I've spent my whole life figuring out what's in the cosmos, what's around us, what is sitting out there that is perfection. And if you're going to paint accordingly, then paint according to the cosmos. So one of my favorite principles of design that's over here is in something I realized. I had a revelation one morning, and I'm going, oh my God, I can't wait to tell my kids. So when you see line, shape, form, color, texture repeating itself, what happens there? It's got to repeat at least 3 times. What happens there? Think about it. I'm doing it.
Rhythm?
Rhythm. Well, rhythm is a good word. Pattern. Okay? And what goes on in the universe that does this? You know, there's vibrations out there, guys. You know that. We're products of the universe. We are pulsating with the universe. So why not paint accordingly? That's not complicated. And what do we have in our own bodies that does this?
The heart.
The heart. So paint to the heart. And then the viewer will go, wow, I like that. And music, obviously, I used to teach Pink Floyd to my grade 9s because this was all new to them. This was like, the words weren't uncommon, but they didn't get it. I said, well, have you ever seen a crescendo in a Rolling Stones song or Or Pink Floyd, 3/4 through the music, everything's kicking in. Well, that's a crescendo. That's called climax. Every good piece of music has a climax. Well, painting should have the same thing. Take the viewer to one point that goes, boom, you got them. And then it's an explosion. Right? So if you paint according to the universe, how can you go wrong? Really? You just tap in. Tappity tap tap. Like musicians do it. They go onto the string of that constant vibration that's in the universe and they tap themselves in. And that's how Paul McCartney was able to write all those hit numbers. He just taps himself in. He's writing hit songs on the bus in 5 minutes. I want to hold your hand. 5 minutes. Go figure. So balance, that's pretty easy. When you play with line, shape, form, color, texture, well, any of them actually, if you play with shape, you got to have shape in 3 of the different boxes. I always break my picture plane up into 4 boxes. Okay, so for balance, you got to have line, shape, form, color, texture in 3 of the 4 boxes. You can't go wrong. If you only put it on one side of the painting, it's unbalanced. Not any different than a ballerina falling over because her weight took her there. It's unbalanced. But they'll never do that because they know what balance is. Music is the same. It's balanced, right? I just play a little guitar, so that kind of helped a little bit putting all this stuff together and all the theories that go with it. Repetition, that's dead easy. Repetition isn't any different than rhythm and movement. Anywhere where you have things that are repeated over and over and over again, the brain just loves to see that. And my best example of that is a snow fence in the wintertime. When you see them leaning and then the shadows, it's like, oh my God, Mother Nature, that's so beautiful. And and the rhythm comes when it goes from small to big. So you can take the eye, like you have here in this painting, you have lots of rhythm, you have lots of repetition. Look at the lines in this painting, it makes it really exciting. And really, they go hand in hand. And they're repeated. So that's why we love trees. That's why I love this tree. It had all of the elements. Look, it had the shape, and it has a little bit of element of danger, which is another thing that I like. So that tree fell over. And then somebody a couple of weeks ago went over there with a chainsaw and took the branches off. Yeah, so they've cut my tree. They've cut my legs. It's not broken now, they're cut. So now you have the answers. You can actually refer to this. You should probably take a picture of this before you go home. And have these words go through your head. Because as you're painting, you need review. And you got to do, this one workshop isn't going to work for you. You have to take maybe 2 or 3 to be constantly reminded of what works. And I know I've heard this before. Center of interest. This is the very first thing you look at in a painting. So let's look at this one. What's the first thing you look at? Huh?
The trunk.
The trunk?
Yeah.
Which one?
Which one? Yeah.
The big one.
The big one?
Oh,
The heaviest part? Okay. Here's an interesting concept. I'm not too sure myself. Sometimes I like things and I go against my own principles. The eye will always follow the whitest, lightest part of the painting. I know that. So, when I do the gorge, I save the lightest part, like the bridge. I don't know if you saw. I'll show you when I do my slides. I don't know, did you see my St. David Street Bridge? It's the lightest part. It's the only concrete that's in the painting, and your eye goes right to it because all of the lines in the painting take you there. Okay, it's a game, and I'm totally aware of it. Here, I think it's a little bit different because I would say the lightest part of the painting is the stretch of yellow that runs through the background of the tree, and you go back and forth, and that stuff just happens to be on top. I'm not too sure myself, I have to admit. There's nothing there that's super unordinary that will take your eye there. But you get 2.5 seconds to go find it. Okay? So sometimes if you're doing a house in Nova Scotia, and she's got her house sitting on the left-hand side, there's a particular area of that picture plane where it sits perfectly, and it's the rule of thirds. Okay? But you can't help but look at the house because it's white. It's like, boom, right there. I'm going, yeah. And then you move around. You try to make a circle for the viewer. So you take the house and then you try to bring their eye around the picture plane and don't let them escape the perimeter of your painting. So you can play with lines, you play with little, I do triangles that take you around. Sometimes it's just automatically there. You've got me at 1 second. It's like, nice, Anyways, so center of interest, focal point, extremely important. With realism, I've wrestled with this in my own head. With realism, you've got to have a focal point somewhere. With abstract, no, not necessarily. If you're just, throwing color on a canvas, but Monet has his bridges, has his Japanese bridges. Your eyes tend to go to the lily pads. He's got it all figured out. And these are paintings that are 15 feet long. And you just kind of scan and go, wow. You center somewhere. And he's a genius at that. So, focal point, mass, volume, weight. I like this because of the weight. The tree's heavy. It's not plastic. So I like that. I like things that are, in nature that are heavy. Like I like painting rock, mountains, the rock down in the gorge, it's limestone. That's heavy stuff. I like painting that. Because it's a nice contrast to the cedar trees. So you're already there, all those principles are there. You don't have to work at it. I'm going to paint upside down. I'm going to, actually I don't want to do that just yet.
Why upside down?
Because the water is going to run, the sky's darker up in here. It goes to light on the horizon line. So when I tilt the board like this, it runs there. And it'll dry like that. Okay? Now I've painted flat too, and I've coaxed the paint to come up in here, and depending on what you want to do, and I'll brush it down. So, for teaching purposes, this is the route to go. What do you think is under the sky? Phthalo blue. Thinned out, okay? And brushed and even. And then at the same time, I sometimes will paint at the same time. I'll put the yellow in the bottom just to save time. And this I may block in with the same color, but it's color right out of the tube. I don't mix anything up. All the colors that you see are mixed. They end up here. But the beauty of the oil and watercolor is that the freshness will come through. So your paintings will never, ever be muddy. And I'm proud of these workshops because I don't get muddy paintings in here. And I better not see one this weekend. So you mix up your paint first. You don't want to put water on your paper and then start mucking around with paint because that's drying in here. I always have a brush that I just use for mixing paint, and I don't put it on there because you'll get little dark bits in here and you'll get scores and scratches. And where'd that come from? Well, it's a dirty brush. I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me.
Chasing that little.
Yeah.
Always have a little bit of Kleenex around, my little security blanket. The other thing too, which I find when I'm teaching, I catch myself doing stuff. When I'm in the studio and I'm doing a watercolor, I have all my plates out. And because I'm a drummer, they're just like my drums. Water is up to the top, and I always have maybe 2 or 3 containers. We're going to use a little bit of Windsor lemon, if you've got it. You never pour paint in your trough, always up on the edge, and you bring the water down, and you can pull. On Saturday, we will be pulling from there for drawing. So the whole process is very useful. Okay, let's do that. You don't need very much yellow. You gotta watch yellow. It'll get away on you. It's pretty powerful. I think that's plenty right there.
Yeah, it looks fluorescent almost.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Are they don't
Trust
make it
me.
anymore or something? It looks like in your painting that you have some alizarin too. Are you going to do that?
No, I'm
Or
gonna
you
wait.
do that
I'm
later?
gonna wait, yeah, because you can, you get too many things going and
Yeah.
next thing you know, painting's getting away on you. So I'm gonna spray over everything. Color always follows water. So if I leave a line up in here, I'm gonna get a really hard line here. So I'm just gonna feather it in. It's gonna be colored anyways. It's not gonna be white paper. So, and I use the light in the room to make sure that it's even. If I was at home though, Connie, I probably would muck around a little bit with the alizarin, just so I could speed the process up. I could do a painting in a day. So when I do the sky, I make X's, and I'll kind of go around the moon a little bit. Because when I'm in my studio, I don't talk to anybody. I'm all by myself. Okay, it's okay to have it a little uneven. It's actually kind of fun, Like your sky, Connie, and your little painting. I'm going to go over that moon just a little bit. Let's say I did. Okay, and then I'm going to wash. I always have a towel so I can wipe my brush. And then just a little bit of yellow. I'll see where it takes me. Okay, I'm going to be down here. I'm going to bring the blue down into that. So light, 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 light. And you got to make sure that you have water throughout the whole painting, because the paint always follows the water. Okay, it's going to go up. I'm going to put red in there, so I'm going to back off from that tree. So if anything, I could probably put a little bit more up here. It's still moist enough. So less is more is the rule, guys, in watercolor. The more you play with it, the worse it gets, okay? Okay. There we go. Thank God, no flaws in the paper just yet. Okay, this is probably all I need there. So not too much. And watch splattering. You're not too close to your painting, because I have done that. And let me tell you how hard it is to get a splatter out of the sky. I'm actually going to go even a little bit lighter than that, because I can always go darker if I want. I'll go darker in the morning, tomorrow, if it's not dark enough. I just want a hint of the red, and I believe it's even over there, over here somewhere. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm going to go over the whole thing again, even though I'm only going to concentrate in that area.
That's so you don't get blue.
So you don't get lines.
Oh, lines, okay.
Caroline. Caroline. It's your namesake now.
Yeah.
Okay, I shouldn't even be doing that. I'm going to use this big guy. And I don't necessarily have to tilt the board, although it's a good habit to get into. And even myself, I forget stuff like that. So less is more. I've only done that probably 10 times. So if it's really wet, it blooms right out. If it dries up a little bit, there's about a minute that you get to play with it, and it gives you soft edges. So that you will learn later on when you're doing a little more watercolor. And I just want to put it at the other end of that tree, and that's it. That's all I want to do. To marry with the air, so I brushed the sky right back into the trees. You can do that with an oil, and it pushed them right back, and it made another level. So, I mean, they're still there, but they're part of the sky now. I thought that was a last-minute decision when I was doing the moon, and I'm really glad I did that, because it really works.
Green in the sky too.
Sorry?
I see green in the
Yeah,
sky.
probably, yeah, up in here, yeah. Like I said, I can't remember, it's been a while since I've done this, but if you're working with a number 2 value, you can put just about anything in there. It's just going to sit on top and it dries, and then you can accent it with something else. So I actually see like a little bit of red, I see purple in here to bring these two together. There's yellow that runs through here, as you know, and then there's bluey purple or green up in here. It would be these trees back in there. So that's going to be next. Okay, because you're layering, you're putting that on top of that. And then what's the third thing we're going to paint over top of the back bush?
Foreground. Tree.
No, not the foreground. Where is the foreground?
The tree.
Yeah, the bottom. So it would be the tree. And then this, you'll probably have to go in here 4 times. You think this is a really easy painting? It's actually not.
It was
I
hard
know,
to
I
draw.
hate to admit it, but
Yeah.
it's gonna frustrate the hell out of you. And then when you get this blocked in though, and we start out light to dark, remember? Don't start in these branches and think you're nailing the branches right away, because it's gonna be too dark, and next thing you know, it's a silhouette, and it's like the levels are off. What's the word? They need to be balanced, okay? Think about that. I'm going to do a little test with you later on when we finish painting. We're going to have you starting to use the language, because these words have to be in your head when you're painting, okay? Okay, so we'll do the bush. You'll probably go, I think I was back in here 3 times, and I'll show you some of the techniques for that. You don't have to be really specific, because it's background. And things that are in the background, Connie, where are you? Things that are in the background, what color are they? Yes, purple says distance, because the eye melts in with the air. Okay, and that's just a given. That is so easy, right? And it says distance, boom. So every painting should have foreground, midground, and background. Don't take a picture of anything that just says 1 or 2. It's got to have all 3. If you want to say 3D. Because you want to take the viewer's eye and go into the painting and not come out. I've actually had that as a compliment once, years ago. Somebody said, I get so locked in on I can't come out. I go, that is so cool. I love that. Right. Because that's what you're after. You want them to go in there and then feast their eyes and then eventually make a circle and move around. And when they look at your painting to go to the next one, you go, no, wait, you haven't seen this part of my painting. You don't want people walking past your work. Get them in there and keep them in there, right? But yeah, painting is magical.
It is.
I tell you, man, I have probably done 3,000 paintings. And every once in a while, before you sign them, you look back and go, wow, did I do that or did somebody else paint that? I've said it a few times. I'm so happy with the results, and it's like I'm on another plateau. It's, it's like songwriting. Sometimes you just come up with the right words, and it's like, oh man, that's beautiful. Okay. Now that's a little sharp, because it's going to look like that. Can you see that? So I'm going to throw a little bit of blue in here just to grade up a little bit. And these 2 colors, because I've used them before, are really, for me, like eating grapes. It's just like, it's the nicest thing. Watch you don't get it too dark. Now the water that I put down in the sky will lighten it up a little bit as well. And I want it mottled. I want some big patches. So before you paint, try to picture what you're doing and where you want to go with it. Make a decision. Don't do it while you're painting, because you'll end up pushing it too far. Next thing you know, you got too much in there. So I've already got this painted in my head. You guys do that? Okay, it's called, it's your third eye. You see it in your mind. You see it in your mind's eye, and it's something I can't teach. It's visualization. It is something every artist needs to practice. And if you can paint your painting in your head finished, you are halfway there. It's not any different when I was teaching this back when they were teaching teachers how to do visualization. I don't know if you remember that. But phys ed teachers were teaching kids how to visualize them succeeding. So if you're playing basketball, they taught them to see themselves sinking the basket. Sink it. Sink it. When I was wrestling, I would go to bed and I would go and put moves in my head. And I go, what if he does this, I do this. What if he does this, I do that. And I'll do a whole match in my head. I'll play it all out and I'll win. I'm the winner. But that's how you get close to winning the game. So visualization, it's one of those things I can't teach, but it's necessary. And it's funny how I read something too. It was an artist that is so close to me, and what we're doing together, he was a wrestler. And I like collecting antiques. It was like, holy Jesus, it's like me reading my own bio. And he talked about how wrestling helped him in painting, where you don't give up. You just keep going, you keep going, you keep going, and if you lose, that's fine. But you move on to the next match and you win that one. And it's a mindset. It's mind strength. And it's not any different than when you're painting here. You want to win the game. Everybody wants to win the game. Now, the other thing, too, with this paper, the more water you add to it, it breaks the sizing down, okay? This arch paper is handmade with rag fibers, not pulp. And they put a sizing in there. At one time it used to be, animal glue. And the pigment itself has something called Arabic glue. And you have about 2 minutes. Once you mix paint up, and you put it on your paper, you got about 2 minutes to play with it. And after that, once it sets up, you're scrubbing. Okay, because it's a really strong dye. Of course, so a lot of oil painters can't do watercolors because of that very reason. You're stuck with that, and there's no forgiveness. Oh, I just paint white over that. Well, with watercolor, you don't. You just leave it. So watercolor, I find, is a really good teaching tool to teach how to paint. Because you plan. That's what I like about it. You see the thing, it exercises your visual brain. Now look at where I pull. Watch me. I'm not pulling from there. I don't want so much on my brush. I want it to be on the paper, and I want to move it around a bit.
What size is that brush that you're using?
It's a 12, I think. Yeah, it's a 12. And because these are going to be painted in, I want them to kind of blend in with the background. But see how minimal that is? It just adds a flavor. This is pretty clean. Now this is where I can bring out a smaller brush and do a little bit of modeling. So dark at the bottom, dark at the top, and then you'll sandwich it to come into the tree. So the viewer cannot help but move into the center of the painting. Because the eye will not spend time looking at this at the bottom, because there's not enough action happening. It's boring, but it sets up the stage. Is my
you're seeing
point.
the
It's
yellow
very
now.
important. Well, yeah, and let's somebody else. Who was that that suggested we put yellow and green together? They're from the same family. Got to be careful here. I'm probably overstepping my bounds with you guys because we're doing some really risky stuff. Look how much I'm pulling. You guys will have a puddle there if I don't mention this, right? So there's just a little bit on my brush, and I'm playing with the water that's on the paper. And there's quite a shimmer over here. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that because I'm just going to test the waters and see where it takes me. Oh, I had so much fun teaching.
What color have you added in there?
Burnt sienna and nothing else.
Okay.
Pure, right out of the tube.
Except for the red that's on.
Yeah.
On your plate already.
There's, yeah, it's the same family. It's not gonna hurt anything.
Yeah.
It's underpainting, guys. It's underpainting, so we're gonna be okay. So the first thing I'm looking for is where do I don't want to paint? Like what am I going to avoid? So it's called negative painting. What do I paint around? I'm gonna paint around the snow. So the snow is sitting in the crutch of this tree, so I don't want to paint anything in there. Don't fill it in, because that's the interest level. If you do that, you'll kill it. The tree's already dead, but you know.
Kill the painting.
All right, watch now. I'm going to do a couple of things. You've got to watch very carefully. I'm going to drag the brush, pick up some of the texture of the paper, although this isn't really textured arch paper. It's been on the smooth side. Some of you guys may have more texture, and I like the texture because I'm about texture. I'm just, okay, I'm backing up. Okay, I did this, filled up my brush, and I'm going to go with a little bit of water at the top, like that, just like that. And then I'm going to paint and drag my brush around the snow. So, I'm looking for texture, and I'm spinning, looking for a different value. I'm spinning. I don't want to fill it all in because this is about texture, and we got to get tree texture. This is a little bit of a slower process, but what you end up with in the end is something that really has a lot of quality to it in my mind. And a lot of artists, young artists, they get impatient. And man, if you saw me 30 years ago, you'd have to scrape me off the ceiling. I was so high energy, like most of my family. But now that I'm painting, I really know how to relax and slow down. And now, after living in Cape Breton for a while, my motto is, if I don't get done to it today, I'll do it next week.
That's good.
I had a guy who always promised to cut my front. I had a field, and he was going to bring his horses. And every spring, he'd say, Barry, I'm coming over tomorrow with my horses, and I'm going to cut that grass of yours. 13 years went by, he never showed up once. You see this in here? That's all burnt sienna, all underneath. And this is tree. And this is negative painting because I'm painting around the snow. And down in there is some burnt sienna with some snow on top. You can make up snow if you want to. And there's a branch here, like that. Okay, so you get the idea. You can also, just for fun, throw a little bit of red. Not going to hurt anything. Just put that right on top like that. Warms it up. That's snow.
Would you do it while it's wet, or would you wait till it's dry?
Both. Both. Because it's kind of the beginning
Pretty
of
dry
your
paint, right?
underpainting.
It's pretty dry what you're painting anyway.
Oh, yeah,
You're not
yeah.
using a lot
For
of
sure.
water.
And that's snow there. Oh. Okay. What am I doing? Doing this. I won't take up any of your time because you're going to spend some time doing this.
And you wanted to show us how you do those thin
I'm going to do that right now. Yeah. Okay, so you're going to have to, some of you don't have these all drawn in, so you're going to have to kind of make it up as you go along. So what I do one rule is at the tree trunk, it starts out thin, and as it gets out here, it gets thinner. Don't go the other way around. I see too many beginners will thicken these ends up, and this is thin down here, and it doesn't make any sense. And it's motor control, is all it is. And then when I get to the end, I lift up. And then the ends I will save, and I'll put a little bit of purple in there.
What do you mean by lift up?
I lift the brush up.
Oh, okay.
I'll show you. Watch. I gotta find out which one I'm gonna paint. Let's paint this one. I trail off. And if there's purple here, I'm gonna end up using purple there. Do you know why? Because it becomes part of the sky. These little guys here too, I'm gonna erase them. They're too dark.
You start at the bottom or top?
I can do both, but I know that this is going to be thicker than that,
Okay.
like that. And I'll show you the jerking method. Let's do that guy there. Can you see what I did there?
So we need to drink more coffee, I think.
Yeah, so we can.
What?
Not
We
sure
need
it
to
is
drink more
going to be there.
coffee.
Caffeine technique.
Caffeine painting.
Caffeine. Did you say caffeine painting?
Yeah.
It's funny. Okay, so I kind of do that. I'll go around and I'll go back. This is just a little thing I've developed over the years. And then I ease off like that. I lift up. Okay, now you won't get that right from the get-go, but practice it. Just try it. But that's how you do branches. Yeah, I know where it is, so what I want to do is I want to paint up to the snow. And this, I think I'm showing you too much. Could save this for another demo, but this is all scumbling. This is all texture, no rhyme, no reason. It's a bush in the background. You don't get fussy with it. But what makes it work is the odd little tree comes up and it's darker, and that sits in the foreground.
You can do
And
that
that's,
after.
don't you think that says bush? That took me like 10 minutes to paint. Okay, less is more. Just looking after you.
So you're mixing all three.
I went into red by mistake, but it wouldn't matter. I'm just using, this is burnt sienna. And again, it's like, what color is that? It's a dark color.
Yeah.
So I want a dark color. But it's a warm dark color. Okay, so I'm looking at this before you guys came up, and I goes, there's something bugging me about this. And it's because these are all the same width. So when I see so much consistency and so much sameness, there's not enough variety for me to hold my attention, so it's bugging me. So I'm looking over here and I goes, well, look at all the heavy guys. They're not even painted in yet. And then they're connected to this arm that goes off, same value, but broken. There's some nice little highlights in there. So that's what I need to work towards. I'm not even going to worry about this yet. That's tomorrow, that effort. But what I want to show you is this. And it's a particular brush stroke that I quite enjoy doing. It might be a little difficult to control, but be careful. Excuse me. It can spit. And if it spits, it's going up into here. Okay, because of what I do. So, there's two things I can do with this brush. I can, one of my favorite techniques, is I don't load it. I don't load it up. It's kind of on the dry side. And I push ahead. How many times am I going into here?
We do 4.
At least 4, right on. Just keep that in mind. You're not going to get it right away. Okay, and you keep it broken. Another technique I absolutely love is this. I hold it way up top and I drop down these little blobs. It's a whole different technique. Look at that. That can be used for cement, a stone wall, grass, underpainting of grass, rock, definitely for rock. I mean, that's rock right there. And trees. And these techniques I've been using for almost 40 years. And I keep using them over and over again because they work for me. So you can see here the way I'm handling the brush, I can actually do a half a painting with this brush. I'm going to drag, again, I'm not finishing up. I don't want to fill up all the holes. So I am dragging, dragging, dragging. And because a tree has bark that moves down like I'm doing here in a stroke, not analyzing, but I'll come in here and pick up the odd little bit like that. Scumbling, this is scumbling. And I'll use the hub of my brush way at the bottom here. And I'll make some solids. But again, I need the variety. I don't want it all solid. And don't forget, I'm going to be back in here 2 more times. Okay? And I'll do that all the way up this branch.
So this is 5, 6, 7 value?
I'm sorry?
6
value.
value?
Oh, good question.
7, 6?
Yeah, maybe 6. It's kind of one of those paintings that sits on top of one another, and it doesn't matter the process. You're not going to screw yourself around. It's if it was a different kind of painting, I would definitely follow the rules because I don't want to get myself trapped. So that's a bluey purple, not like really heavy. And I've got to decide how far I want to come up underneath this. So it's this here. I'm not going to worry about the detail yet. I'm going to be doing background. But I do have some gum for some of these branches that are off into the distance that have got snow on them. So eventually I could probably go in there with a zero brush and paint around that. Again, I'm not filling it in. Don't fill it in. This is about texture.
But that base you had originally, have you put that in?
What's that?
I didn't put this in yet. This-
Oh, no, I
Okay.
did that because I get bored.
Okay.
Probably not a very good teaching demonstration when I say, hey, I'm bored, I'm going to move on. And you guys are over there suffering away. That's not a good demonstration. It's like you're painting way ahead of everyone, and I'm not talking about it. I'm not explaining myself, and that's just bad teaching. So I'm going to come up a little bit higher here. And that's this technique. Notice where I hold it, the white come through. And I'm going to mix the blue and the purple. And in here is blue and purple. I'm going to vary the value by adding a little more water. Just be careful you're not spinning. I'm also, while I'm painting, looking up here, making sure I haven't created a nightmare for myself. And then there's that little guy up in there. These are tree tops. And they go down to about there. I haven't got gum over everything, so I got to be careful. I want to paint around some stuff. So you can kind of see, you know, for me, which is what I need to see, if the painting is starting to take off. Okay. Yeah, just not very dark.
So do that before you do the dark, probably, right?
And I think there's two ways I can do this. I can wet the bottom part and go wet into wet, which is what we call wet into wet, or I can go wet into dry. So I think I'm going to, yeah, maybe I should do wet into wet first, and then I'll go wet into dry. I'll put dry over top of what I'm doing now and let this dry. Because I want to come up here too and establish that. And this, I was going to start playing with this, but I got some biscuit in here now that's wet. So long story short.
So you did wet it or you didn't?
I didn't, I'm going wet
No.
into dry. I changed my mind.
Wet into,
I'm sorry.
because when I went wet into dry,
I get to change my mind.
it messes me up.
Don't do as I say, do as I do.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Because I don't know what I'm doing half the time.
Well, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, my sister's pretty cool. When I take my cousins out on our double, we had a tandem bike, and we go for bike rides. They really liked coming to visit us. Yeah. I'm just throwing a little bit of yellow in here because I have it up there. And I'm hoping that maybe on the outset it might be a little on the green side, which I like. I'm just adding another dimension of color. Okay, that's all that is. And I don't want it muddy. You got to watch with these two colors, man. You could destroy a painting. I'm going to leave this because I may go back into it and make it just a little bit darker down in here. Keep the weight down here and let this be a little more ethereal and go off on its own like that. Okay, and then I'm going to save that. I'm going to put blue in there. Three colors, two plates. I'm going to use them all simultaneously, and I'm going to put them back in here. And I do like this blue, so I wanted to make sure I had a little puddle of that blue. I'm not going to overuse it, but I'm going to go over everything. And I'm just going to scumble. And I'm going to finish the treetops with tiny little brush strokes. Okay? Okay. Let's go. I need this closer.
What color is this?
Payne's
here?
gray.
It's just Payne's gray?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Isn't that nice?
there you go.
Yeah, it almost looks green. Green.
Okay, this is getting frustrating for me. I'm sorry. I gotta speed up the process a little bit. This is the best brush for texture, I tell you. It's a lifesaver. I always get what I want.
Well, even when you
And
don't know
fast.
what you want, it looks good.
Huh?
I used it, and even when you don't know what you want, it looks good.
Well, it's a save. This is my save. And I like that little bit of blue up there. I'm going to throw more blue in here. A little bit of cooler blue down in here. And the edge of the snow is right about there. Again, I'm keeping it broken. I'm not filling it in. And there's already snow on this guy. And I'm just going to stay away from it for just to be on the safe side. And I think as I get to the tree trunk, I'm going to put a little more purple in there. And I find too, when I'm pushing ahead, the opposite of dropping down like I'm doing, if I push it ahead, I get a whole different texture. It's kind of neat. I do that a lot. And there's some white bits too. I don't want to fill it all in. I want the eye to go through the bush. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit lighter because I don't want to fill it in. And then there's a tree up in here. Boy, that's really hard. Wowzers. I think I feel like I'm a little under the gun when I'm demonstrating, and I got to get things done right away. Where if I'm at home, it's a different game. I'll sit here with a little tiny brush and scumble till I fall asleep, and it's quite okay.
I can't believe how quickly the day's gone.
Okay, that's pretty fast, isn't it?
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
3
what you're
o'clock.
referring to?
Yeah.
Okay, now the top parts, you get the odd one that sits up like that. Wyeth does this all of the time, and so does your friend. When he does these distant bushes, I noticed Wyeth does the same thing. He'll put down a bed of color and then just focus on the very top.
Because your eye is drawn there. Contrast.
Yeah. And then, because we have some tree bits here. I want to do that while I'm in here. So these are some of the trees that kind of stand out.
Using sepia for that.
Yeah, sepia. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's quite a bit of purple over here.
Yeah.
Whatever is going on. Okay, that's a first.
Picked that up from Wyeth. He had a fence post in front of Kerner's house one day, and I'm looking at it, going, that is really cool texture. And you look at it, shit, it's his fingerprint. So I've been doing it ever since. Plus, nobody can copy me now. I have so much value in my work. And it leaves a texture that is so unique and unpredictable. So I'm using the very hub of my brush too, and I'm pushing and using and abusing my brush like that, just to get what I want. So I'm dragging. This is dry brush. So, when you go home, you're driving home, take a look at distant bushes and see what they look like.
All I have to do is go out there. They're beautiful trees out there.
Well, I have this in my backyard. So I'm looking at distant bushes all of the time. There's some areas that are closed in, there's some areas that are open, they're varied, they're different colors. So, I don't like areas that are flat and have no texture. It drives me nuts. Okay, so I gotta come down here. There's a little bit of snow that's piled up around the trees. Get that in there. There's a little pile there. Okay. There's a tree branch that comes off of there. It's right through there. Just a little detail. I like that there, I like that V. And we're coming to the end here. Now these trees are a little closer, so they actually are a little more defined. This tree here has definitely a series of tree trunks that drop down. I am surrounded all over by these kinds of trees. It's coming, it's coming. I'm really aware of the amount of paint I have on my brush because I don't want it to be too dark. And I'm scratching. I've been there, done that too many times. This is fun. I like doing that. The little distant, way off. My neighbor owns that back in there. There. And these are fun too. You got to watch you don't overdo these. They are so much fun. It's dry brush. And I am not going to put a wash in there. I'm afraid I'm going to lose some branches. So I'm going to cool it down with the same color as the bush, which is Payne's Gray and Purple.
So it's dry underneath.
It is dry. I never make the left-hand side painting the same as the right-hand side. Even in my skies. One's dark, one's light. If you're going to do this, be very, very careful not to smear any of the tree branches. I haven't got them all darkened yet, so I can get away with it. And up in here, where I don't want the tree branches look like they've been pasted in there, so I'm going to do this. And very gently
Where's some of them?
push them back. Very little pigment, but it's wet on dry. That will work if I darken that up a little bit.
Like darken up the branches?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I would advise you guys to do that. It's a little dangerous.
Scary.
Like that.
I see.
They started like that, and it was just on my phone. A little blurry, but that's that one. And then the colors there. And a little blurry, but again.
That's a painting.
It is. Oh, well, we did a little bit. Pretty dark.
Is that purple or purpley?
Yeah, it's
Or
kind of
Payne's gray?
purpley blue. It's, you know, you can use any color you want as long as you've already used it in your painting. You can't go too wrong.
Yeah.
It's all from the same family of colors.
Hopefully this is stars too. But I've seen them. I've seen them on my light, and I have friends that in Canberra.
Yeah.
This is what I was afraid of losing. All these little white bits. And some of them are fat and some of them are thin. That's not the way snow falls.
Yeah.
So I need to make them sharper,
Yeah.
thinner.
Yeah. In the north. And that's the moon, the full moon that night. Which I couldn't believe that all this came up that well.
Now, let's see. Okay, so this snow, if you notice, guys, the snow at the bottom, I know you're not there yet, but when you're painting the snow that's on the branches, there's probably more snow in the bottom painted in because it doesn't receive much light.
Payne's gray you use for
No,
the snow?
no, Payne's gray is too gray for snow.
Oh, you never get used to the sunset. One day and make the same one twice.
I'm gonna make a little bit of highlight there and push that back. So it's a little game we play. It's like what gets painted and what doesn't get painted.
What kind of blue are you using?
I think, what kind of blue? I think it's phthalo blue?
Mixed a little bit with your Payne's gray, no?
Yeah, it's probably, there's some purple in there. Or, no, actually, you're right, there's some Payne's gray in there. Okay, so this here, I want really clean snow. And then I'm going to make it less blue up here. Less blue, less blue, less blue. I'm going to put water down the whole thing. And then I'm just going to put some blue right underneath. Okay, I like that. That's nice, I like that. I'm not kidding. It would make it perfect. What is it that we have in photography and in painting that will make your painting perfect? Do you know there are perfect shapes out there? Okay, so back in Da Vinci's era, in the 15th century, they figured out, because he was a mathematician, they figured out single point perspective, and they figured out the golden rule, the golden rectangle. So the shape, the general shape of your painting, if it echoes the golden rectangle, it's already perfect. How's that? The rest is just guesswork. Okay, so here it is. Here's the golden rectangle. Start out with a square. Russian painters. I taught a kid who was doing his master's in mathematics and his master's in fine art at the same time. And he took a workshop from me. I goes, what are you doing here? I should be taking one from you. He was so smart. And he showed me the golden rectangle and where they were used in Russian paintings, because that's what he did his master's on. Isn't that cool? He now teaches up in Lethbridge or somewhere, like somewhere out of the friggin' way. He should be right down in Toronto teaching other artists and teachers how to paint. And he could also paint. He was just he took 2 workshops from me. He's such a nice guy, I don't believe it. Anyways, so what you do is you take a compass and you open it up from there to there, and, no, sorry, from here to here, I did that wrong. From here to here, and you drop it down. It's this width, and you drop it down to something like that. And you finish it off. It's a mathematical ratio. I wasn't very good at math, but I know this. 1.54 or 34 or something.
1.6. 1 to 1.6.
There you go.
Okay, what do you
What's
do?
the-
You take the distance.
Watch. Yeah, you just go from this corner to this corner with a compass and drop it down. You take a square, measure it, and then drop it down, and it gives you this. So you can repeat that, and you got golden rectangles everywhere. Now, my favorite painter is a non-objective painter called Pierre Mondrian. He does this over and over and over again. They used his artwork for L'Oreal to sell cosmetics. You know, the red, the blue, everything's all minimal. And he lived in an apartment with no furniture. He was a minimalist. And he always wore a shirt and tie. Really interesting character. Probably boring. But he uses this over and over again. So that's your perfect rectangle. And
That's what you paint, the size you paint. Is it what you mean?
could be any size you want, whatever the square sets you off with. So if you start with a square here, and you get a big compass or a piece of string and drop it down, it gives you the rule of thirds.
And that's where your focal point. You want your focal
And
point.
exactly, sorry. So these areas where they intersect give you the best spot for the eye to come to rest, including here. So Alex Colville built his whole career on mathematics and art. A lot of his drawings have lots of geometry in them, and then he put figures in his geometry, and it was a bit of a sale for him. He got a reputation for it. Like CBC would do a special on him working in the studio, and he would just come back from the post office. He had a shirt and tie on and a suit jacket, and he'd take, like Mr. Rogers, he'd take his suit jacket off, hang it up in the studio, and put on a lab coat. And he would begin painting. That was his shtick. God bless him, though. See what I'm doing, Sam? I'm kind of jerking the brush so I don't end up with a straight line. See that?
Yeah.
And then we'll go back and just break it. Even do this. Just use a little dry brush.
Is it number one?
What, my brush?
Brush.
That's a 0. Could be 1 though. How's your cough, Connie?
How does it sound?
Not
Sounds
so good.
Sounds horrible.
It is not great.
Does it hurt your throat?
No, not at all.
Oh.
It's just there.
Oh, you had a good dinner last night, though.
We did.
All these little secondary branches are like a number 2 value, plus I'm dragging the brush across the paper to get the texture, so it's not so the same value, right? If you notice, even my brush strokes, I break it. Like I don't paint the full length of the branch. The inside here has got to be a little bit lighter because it's sitting against so much negative space. You see that's all broken line, Kelly? So it doesn't look so manicured or the same value. The branches, some come forward, some go back.
Chris, you make it look very easy. You make it look very easy.
I'm on the edge.
I am just.
I'm on the edge. It is,
'Cause
I mean, this is hard. I'm trying to make it very casual, and yet, you know, I'm concentrating on the strength of the branches. I don't want them all the same. I want them feathering like this here, this one here. I'm gonna feather it right out like that.
Just like that.
Just a little jerk there like that. So it's all broken, you see? And again, it's not easy. Go up, come back down, double it up. It's okay. Pick up on this one a little bit, maybe this one over here. Make it blurry. Lots of dark stuff up in there, so I missed that completely. Which is okay by me. I'm going to make this one better than the other one. 'Cause I don't want the eye to come over here. I want the eye to come over here. So this is secondary effort. Okay, here we go.
All the colors too.
Kind of liking this purple here. I like the branches to be part of the sky.
Sorry. No, I heard you coming.
How's it going?
No, that's okay. I just had to know what you're gonna try to be critical of. Right, yeah.
We take on something, we learn it. Finished, but I don't know.
I don't know if I know.
Tendency is when I don't finish today, I don't look at it for a
You don't
while.
know.
Grass is growing, baseball starts, I'm still playing hockey.
Just like that.
Summer's just starting.
I watched the whole thing.
Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of purple right up against the snow.
Straight to the dry brushing. Yeah.
Does anybody want to know how to do the snow on the tree?
No, I did it.
Yes.
My way.
I'm just dry brushing it, I'm not making a wash. So I'm working with purple here over top of the blue. You can see that's
Yeah.
blue. So I'm just going to cool it down a little bit, and I'm going right up underneath it. So the light comes in over top, and then this is sort of in shadow, and it's hugging the tree a little bit more. Like that. This is like, I quite like that, that's fine.
What I have trouble with is not making it a wash. Like,
Well, watch, I'm just swirling. That's all I'm doing. And this here, just another dimension, drag the brush across, have it
so
broken.
like dabbing almost.
Yeah, and I don't,
Okay.
and I want it broken.
Right, right.
I don't want it broken. I don't want it so manicured and, I mean, it still has to look like a painting, right? Like,
Yeah.
and purple is a really nice
Yeah.
color to play with at this point because I got so much purple. So I got to bring the purple back into the tree. Right in here. Just like that. Like that. I'll play this one off it. Yeah. And I think I'm going to
I love this
put it.
one.
Yeah?
I really like the way.
I like this area that you guys have done. Yeah, it's a nice area.
So how often, how many times have you painted this? Or is
Sorry?
this your first time painting the watercolor? Like, have you done this before?
No.
No, okay. You know what I mean, like.
Well, I was
You
in.
did it in oil.
I was in my oil phase, and I thought that
Yeah.
that was going to serve as, and I never really had any intentions of making it bigger. That's the other thing.
Well, it's a good size for a workshop.
It is.
Yeah.
You can't go bigger because you'll never get done.
Okay, did you show us how to do the snow yet, and I missed it? Like, in here?
No, I'm just swirling.
Okay.
I like some of the white bits that I left back in,
Yeah.
because that's a field that continues on, and this is a bush that goes back in
Oh,
there,
yeah,
but then
yeah.
now it drops down, so I don't know.
Yeah.
He did show and I recorded it. I was the only one watching.
Okay, I missed that. But I can watch the video.
Very fresh.
Yeah.
I just look at that down.
You just did it.
It's right there. You can pull it right out too. If you like.
When you take a look at Mother Nature and the branches that come off, it is so chaotic. And that's what I'm trying to reproduce, because I've looked at enough trees to know that you may not have enough branches to make
I did.
it look chaotic.
I got that print done. It's just my cell phone, so it's not like the best picture.
Well, geez.
I think I'm gonna.
That's it.